In January, water levels began to rise in the Ohio River, United States. By February, it led to the Ohio River flood, leaving 1 million people homeless and taking the lives of at least 385 people. The Spanish Civil War was raging on, and airship Hindenburg burst into flames in Lakehurst, New Jersey. Of the 97 people on board, 62 people survived the ordeal. And I know today there is a lot of doom and gloom, but it's all uphill from here, baby, because today we have this absolutely gorgeous drop-head Chaperon Cabriolet, which is one gorgeous French car that you may have never heard of, Delage. But before getting into all of it, I'm Jay. Welcome to What It's Like, the automotive channel where we feature the lost and forgotten cars from a world gone away when the men were men and the women were proud of it. History, specs, designs. We post between 4 and 5 episodes each week, with engine episodes generally on Wednesdays. If you're into automotive history, subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. Couple of announcements real quick before getting into this one. Hershey is coming up real soon. It's October 8th through the 11th. I will be there Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this year. So if you see me, be sure to come out and say hi. Also, this channel is broadcasted all over the world, so you might not be in the United States. You might be in New Zealand. You might be in Australia. You might be in Brazil. If there is a car show that is happening in your region, be sure to put it in the comment section. I'm sure that there's more people out there that want to know that that car show exists. All right, 1937 Delage model lineup. But before getting into all of that, a little bit about Delage. I just want to mention this right up front. I am not the best at pronunciation, so please don't crucify me in the comment section. Louis Delage was born in Koenig in 1874 and was the son of a watchman. At age 16, Louis would go to École des Arts, Meters and Angers, and would graduate 3 years later with an engineering degree. In 1905, Louis would found his automobile company called Delage. They made high-end luxury cars and race cars with high build quality and reliability. The Type A and Type B were the first cars produced by Delage in 1906. They were powered by a single-cylinder de Leon engine, which was one of the go-to engines back in the day. They found themselves in cars and motorcycles producing somewhere between 6 and 7 horsepower. By 1912, Delage was building their own engines in-house, 2.5-liter inline 6. By 1913, production was up to 1,300 cars a year. Delage would get into racing, shipping cars to the States to race the Indianapolis 500. In 1914, Ray Thomas was at the wheel and would win with an average speed of 129.60 kilometers per hour, which would equate to about 80.5 miles per hour. The Great Depression, much like inflation now, affected the whole world, and Delage was struggling in the early 30s. Louis Delage didn't want to claim bankruptcy, so he let his company go into receivership. In 1935, another French company that made extraordinary cars, not Bugatti, but Delage, would acquire Delage. Louis Delage would stay on as a board member and would die in 1947. Delage would make cars under Delage until 1953. Delage lasted until 1954, and then both were absorbed by another French car company called Hotchkiss. It's worth mentioning that Delage was revived in 2019 with the Delage D8-120, a hybrid supercar. It is powered by a 990 horsepower naturally aspirated V12 and a 110 horsepower electric motor for a grand total of 1,100 horsepower. There's only 30 that were ever produced and was voted the most beautiful car in the world. 1937 Delage model lineup was broken down into the DI-12, which was their 4-cylinder model, followed by the D6, 60, 70, and 80, which was their 6-cylinder line. And my God, they just get gorgeous after this. Even the 6-cylinder cars are just drop dead gorgeous. But then you had the 8-cylinder cars, which were the D8-100 or 120, which ride the longest wheelbase. It's important to note they did build a V12 prototype. Delage would offer the D8 from 1929 through 1940 in various different models. The D8-100 was built from 1936 through 1940, and the D8-120 was built from 1937 through 1940. So let's break down these numbers for you real quick. The D stands for Delage, 8 stands for 8 cylinders. The 100 is 100 horsepower engine, 120 is the 120 horsepower engine. In 1937, Delage would sell you the chassis, running gear, engine, dashboard, all that stuff, and then you would take it to a coach builder of your choice to have the body work done. The coach work on the featured car was done by Henry Chaperone, who did the coach work for various other cars, everything from Cadillac to Rolls-Royce. Chaperone opened up his very first design studio in 1919. Henry Chaperone was a predominant French coach builder. His influence can be seen on coach-built cars from 1935 through 1955. By the 1950s, France would put a heavy tax on coach-built luxury cars, which essentially put an end to that business. Chaperone would adapt and pivot to working with Citroën with the DS. Let's talk specs. 211 inches long, 74 inches wide, 65.5 inches tall. It rides a wheelbase of 133 inches. Total 1936 through 1939, D8-120. There was only 66 chassis made. Moving on to engine. Only one engine on offer for the D8-120. That was the 289.9 cubic inch displacement overhead valve in line 8, 4.7 liters. It's good for 120 horsepower at 4,000 RPM, 180 pound-feet, or 244 newton meters at 2,000 RPM. The bore and stroke sizes are not right, but it's somewhere around 3.3 inches on the bore, and the stroke is around 4.2 inches. Every source that I've found has the bore at 3.4 and the stroke at 4.2, or I also found a source that had it at 3.031, but those aren't right. Or maybe those bore and stroke sizes are right, and then the cubic inch displacement isn't 289.9. It's hard to decipher. It is backed with a 4-speed electromatic transmission, like a pre-selector transmission. Theoretical top speed of 93 miles per hour. Front suspension consists of independent transversal leaf spring with upper control arms and lever action shock absorbers. Rear suspension consists of a live axle with semi-elliptical leaf springs and lever action shock absorbers. 4-wheel hydraulic brakes. Just wow, this car in this color is like a match made in heaven. So elegant the way the stainless looks with this color. There will be a full walk around at the end of this episode, uninterrupted, no volume, so you can just take it all in. Small, petite, split bumpers in the front. Also look at how the bumpers are mounted to the car with a single mount point. Fog lights / accessory lights. Fenders have an ever so slight crease going up to the running lights that have a red dot at the rear. If you know what that's for, put it in the comment section below. Headlight pods are bright with a center spine. The grille is very elegantly done with Delage logo nice and proud in the front. This car does not have a mascot. It does have a center line, which is a nice piece of stainless trim that hides the butterfly hinge underneath, going back to the single piece windshield with the windshield wipers at the top. Just look at these fenders and how they flow. The fenders have this elegant canary yellow or cream, depending on how the light hits it, pinstriping. Gorgeous fender profile that flows into the running boards with beads on the running boards at different lengths. Running boards taper as it goes back towards the rear fenders. 3-door hinges which are bright. It's important to point out the louver situation on the driver's side is different than the passenger side. And because this car is a French car, the driver's, it's right-hand drive as opposed to left-hand drive. On the left-hand side of the car, there isn't pipes, but there is pipes, exhaust pipes, on the right-hand side. This car being a right-hand drive car, the spotlight is on the right-hand side. There looks to be a vertical channel right underneath the spotlight, and what comes out of it are trafficators, early form of turn signals. There's also one on the left side as well. Better look at the running board situation with the beads on the running board. They're just so elegant how they all stop in different areas. Bright convertible top bars with leather straps. Gas filler is on the passenger side or left side in this car. Brake light. Rear bumpers are different than the front bumpers. Just look at how elegant the rear fender situations are and how it finishes the car as well as ties into the back area back here. There are two brake lights. The bumpers are split like the front ones, but they're stacked. Spare tire as well as built-in trunk with luggage rack, so it's possible to stack luggage on top of the trunk and strap it down with the leather tie-down straps. The interior is wood and leather. The doors have map pockets. Here is what over the hood would look like. This is what first person over the hood would look like. And it's important to note that this car does have cowl ventilation, which is the best air conditioning unit that they don't put in cars anymore, in my humble opinion. Up above, notice there aren't any sun visors. Rear view mirror and center, windshield wiper motor all the way on the passenger side. Now it's time for the button switches and knobs. We're going to start on the right today and we're going to move left. Turn signals and or trafficators. Pre-select transmission. Notice the shift pattern is 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's flipped. Okay, so I apologize. If you speak French, I don't speak French. Maybe you could fill us in on some of these because some of these aren't as easy to understand, especially if you've never taken French or read French or any of that stuff. Also notice the gauges are Jaeger gauges. Hewley, I believe that's the coolant temperature. 4,500 RPM tachometer. Knob for the crank out windshield, 120 mile per hour speedometer, amp meter at the top, trip, odometer, clock, glove box. On the positive side, this is a showstopper car. It's the type of car that gets attention from people who don't even like cars. Like, for example, I showed this car to my daughter Chloe. She sometimes does the Toodaloo and sometimes it's in some random things as well. And she's like, yes, Dad, yes, you got to buy that car. And then I told her that it's way out of our price range, but we're getting a bit of ahead of ourselves. It's more than a car. It's a rolling masterpiece. Nothing about it says facade. Like, everything is real about it. It's made of steel. It's made of wood. It's made of real leather, quality, class. There isn't that many cars built at this time period or point that are on par with it. It's a cut above just about every other car that was available in 1937. French Duesenberg, maybe, but I think that term would go for the Bugatti. It's more like that, I think. I don't think there is anything in the USA that's equivalent. Full CCCA, Classic Car Club of America, classic status type car. Against it, 66 chassis were produced from 1936 through 1939, so the odds of owning one are slim to nil. They're insanely expensive to buy, operate, insure. Parts are obsolete, so if you need parts, you have to build them. They're insanely expensive to restore. Information is spotty and conflicting in the USA. All right. Now it's time for Would You Rather, and this is just a fair warning. They may not be in the same price point. They might be in the same price point now, but they're maybe not. These aren't fair by any stretch of the imagination, but which one would you rather have? Two scenarios. In the first scenario, 1937 Bentley 4.25 liter special, or 1937 Delage D8-120, or 1937 Bugatti Type 57 Cabriolet. I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. On to the second scenario. 1937 Delage 135M Cabriolet, coachwork by Chaperone, or 1937 Delage D8-120, bodywork by Chaperone, or 1937 Hispano Suiza K6. I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free to pause the video. On to Name That Tune. First person to give both the name of the band, song title, and the lyric that comes after what is sung will have their comment pinned to the top of the comment section. California guys all got their eyes on that girl from New York City. So looking for 3 things to have your comment pinned to the top of the comment section. We're looking for the band, the song title, and what lyric comes after that. First person to do all 3 will have their comment pinned to the top. Thank you all so much for coming out and watching this. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below, or you could check out our Facebook group that correlates with this YouTube channel. I call it the After Party. It gives you the opportunity to share your ride, stories, experiences. Anything car relatable is shareable on there. If you don't have Facebook and would still like to reach me, send me an email at what_it's_like at a lost and mostly forgotten web provider, yahoo.com, if interested. Also, did you like this French car? Should we do more French cars in the future? In the comment section below. Until next time, toodaloo! This is the after show. This part of the video doesn't have any sound. It's a bit long, but if you like listening to music, you can listen to whatever music you wish, or you could just take this all in. This is a rolling sculpture. Enjoy.